little after dark special for you. Hope you guys are doing well. You ready? I know this is off. This isn't normal times. I try to do these earlier, and I also know I'm going to get someone in chat. Hey, I didn't get notifications. Ty, I'm sorry. All right, 3, 2, 1. Yo! Hope you guys had a great weekend. Razorbacks sure did. In like everything, all sports. It's a good time. It's a good time to be a Razorback fan. Cheers. Some green Skittle water. You know, they sell those like flavor enhancers for the water bottles. All right, again, I know this is late. I tried to get this up and running earlier, and I'm jotting down notes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. So I'm going to try and cram all this in. I won't make it super. I know I say this all the time. I'm going to try and keep this under an hour, hopefully under like 45 minutes. But I know, hey, you guys are excited about it because there's so much to discuss. I know, again, these are usually earlier. I don't anticipate a whole lot of people here tonight. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but I wanted to get the content out there because there's so much to discuss. Tanya Henry, how you doing, Tanya? Fishman says 3, 2, 1, yo, what's up, Ty? I was the first like. How about that? How about those Hogs, William Richards? I agree, man. I agree. Pretty psyched about the direction of the program. Doesn't seem to matter if you're a baseball fan, softball fan, women's, men's, basketball, football, I think is headed in the right direction. They're not quite, other than outside of the state of Arkansas, they're not quite trending in the direction, like they're not on the same trajectory as basketball is right now, right? I think they'll get there. I think year 2 is going, I think you're going to see steps in the right direction, year 2. Assuming they play, and I think they will, play a full 12-game schedule. Big Daddy Donnelly says, Razorbacks overload. Do your thing, Bubba. Oh, you know it. You know it. So, first off, if you guys have not heard, for those of you who are NFL fans, Dak Prescott, I don't know if you guys saw this. And, of course, I don't have all the information. I'm telling you, I was there it is, right there. Okay. Adam Schefter reported, this is for you Cowboy fans, that Dak Prescott's going to be given a 4-year, $160 million deal, including $126 million guaranteed. That's a record. So his first 3 years, he's going to average $42 million. That's all coming from Adam Schefter. That's insane. All these people griping and moaning that, well, they're never going to make a deal. It's obvious that they had a lot of money on the table, and there you go. How about that? Congrats to Dak and the Cowboy fans. I think, wasn't it Colin Cowherd that said that Dak was no better than a backup tight end in the NFL? Wasn't that Colin Cowherd that said that? Boy, does he look silly. But, when you do what he does and you're as big as he is, yeah, you're going to have some bad takes, and they're going to be exposed. I've had bad takes. It happens. I was accused of a bad take from the postgame show when I said the SEC underperformed. I think I'm right. The SEC underperformed as a basketball conference this year. Tell me I'm wrong. The final 4 weeks you had 2 teams ranked in the AP top 25. You averaged like 2, maybe 3 teams on the bubble. By the way, your bubble teams went 1-2 on Saturday, and you still have in the final AP top 25. I put a poll out today. Last I saw, it was like 55-60% people agreed that the SEC underperformed. SEC basketball was, I'm not saying it was terrible. I think they underperformed. Underwhelming this year. Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, all these teams, they just, Now, does that mean the SEC is going to do poorly in the tournament? No, not necessarily. In the way that it's looking, there's going to be quite a few teams from the SEC probably make the NCAA tournament. But we have to understand it's not because you were a great basketball conference. It's because you had a lot of postponements this year, a lot of cancellations. You had your blue blood schools struggle, North Carolina, Duke, just to name a couple. And I realize, you got a lot of teams get invited to those tournaments. But I stand by what I said. I think the SEC just underperformed. So, yeah. JD Notte awarded the six-man. He was given the six-man award of the year from Bleacher Report. I think that was Bleacher Report. I'm pretty sure it was. It was either them or Saturday Down South. I'm pretty sure it was Bleacher. So, Razorback baseball, unanimous number one from all major polls, all college baseball polls. That's big. Razorback football recruiting update. The Hogs gained 2 crystal ball projections. This is big for Miles Reiser. If you've not heard of him, he's that 6'1", 6'2", 190-pound 4-star safety out of Michigan. Plays out of Belleville. I don't think he's on commit watch. I don't know. When you start seeing the crystal balls rack up, that usually is a pretty good sign that he could be announcing soon. I don't know if he is or not. I haven't heard he's got a date set up yet. And then, of course, the biggest news really of the weekend, Razorback basketball for the first time in since I was in like 3rd grade, are ranked inside the top 10 in the AP top 25. I think Bama was 6th. So no SEC teams in the top 5, but you have 2 in the top 10. Other than that, nobody else ranked. I think there was only one team on the bubble this week. And again, the AP top 25 is not the measuring stick for how good you are as far as depth, but when in terms of like teams, the depth in your conference. But someone in my comments earlier said that, they won the Big 12 matchup. Congratulations. You know who did lose in those and who are your top 2 teams in the SEC? Both Alabama and Arkansas lost their matchups. So I don't know that you go by like single games either to test, there you go, the SEC's better. I don't think so. I'm going to take the Big 12 over the SEC right now in terms of who's better conference-wise. So also, in the way the tournament works, you could have some SEC teams go far, and I hope that they do. But it's been a crazy, crazy-ass year because of COVID. I mean, there's no doubt. I think we can all agree with that. Whether you agree or disagree about the SEC being up and down, whatever. To each their own. Bad take, bro. Bad take. But look, it's been a crazy year. The AP was affected. Blue Bloods were affected. You had schools canceling. My God, I mean, A&M didn't play for a huge chunk of the year. So, yeah. But congrats to the Razorbacks. The highest, and again, what was that, 93, 94 when they were like top 3, top 5 all year. How about that? Hopefully the Hogs can hang on to it for a little while. I mean, not that it matters at the end of the year because you get into SEC tournament play. All right, let's get into the SEC tournament. I had it pulled up here. All right, what I am going to do for the NCAA tournament, I want to do a bracket. I'm not going to do it for the SEC. Like, I'm not going to do one right here for you. But I want to do one. I might even do it live and just fill out my bracket with you guys. And maybe you can have your own bracket pulled up and we can kind of, go over it together. I will say this, and this is – I said this on the Saturday postgame. Right? Was that Saturday when I said that? I felt like Ole Miss was going to be somebody to watch. I still feel that way. They're going to match up against South Carolina in their first game in round 2, March 11th on Thursday. Golly, I'm so ready for this thing to start. I love that Arkansas got the double bye, but I'm ready for Arkansas basketball. I'm ready for them to kick this tournament off right now. But you're going to kick off. So this thing starts on Wednesday, March 10th, 6 p.m., A&M Vanderbilt. They get the whole network to themselves. Nobody else is playing basketball in the SEC on that day because it's first round. But A&M Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt has that upset look to them. They played some good ball at times this year, but overall they were atrocious. They were not good. Definitely taking A&M there, right? And I hate that you guys. I'm not sharing my screen here, but I've got everything. Hang on. My OBS, like I said, everything got switched over, and I can't share my screen, but I'll get that fixed before I do my bracket, before I do my NCAA bracket. But and so I won't, because of that, I'm not going to go over every single team because I don't want you to have to mentally project every single thing that I'm saying here. But I like A&M in that matchup. Mississippi State, Kentucky. Ironically, that could be a pretty good game because both of them are not very good. I'd probably take Kentucky, so that would be Kentucky and Bama for your quarterfinals on Friday, which would be the 2-week bye. That's the day when all those teams start. Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, LSU, who get the 2-week buys, or 2-round buys. Definitely taking Bama there. So then we move down to let's just go to Arkansas. Why not? I'm not going to go over every single one of these games. Georgia and Mizzou. Georgia's another team, like, you could beat them by 30, and then they could turn around and beat a bubble team or a team that's on the bubble to be ranked, or they could even beat someone that's ranked by a few points. Like, they have, again, like, they're okay. They're salty. I think Mizzou should win this, so I'm going to take Mizzou. And then that gives you Arkansas and Mizzou, which is technically game number 8. That's the quarterfinals, Friday, March 12th. Oh, man, we get so much basketball this weekend. I'm just so excited for it. But you're going to get game 8, Arkansas. I think it's Arkansas, Missouri. And then so down below us, you've got South Carolina, Ole Miss. The winner of that takes on LSU. Give me Ole Miss. I told you guys, I'm worried about Ole Miss. They've got some they have a reason to win. And I think they're good enough that they probably can win, maybe even get an upset somewhere. I think LSU Ole Miss might be a toss-up. LSU scoring their scoring offense really solid. Ole Miss could do a couple things pretty well. What little I watched of Ole Miss, I definitely watched a little bit more LSU than I did Ole Miss this year, admittedly, but I think they have it in them. They're motivated. That's really the factor here. I think they're motivated. They don't really have the talent or even the depth to go toe-to-toe with someone like Arkansas, but I like them over LSU. I don't know. I mean, it's a shot in the dark. Again, with how this thing plays out, I'm taking Ole Miss over LSU in that Game 9 matchup. Again, that's on Friday. Okay. Ole Miss, Arkansas. Give me Arkansas. That's a coin flip. I had to think about this one long and hard today when this came out. I'm sitting there, of course I'm dealing with my kiddos with school. But after this comes out, I tell my girls, I'm like, all right, we're going to take a good long break, and I'm kind of looking this thing over. I think it's going to be a tough matchup, but I do like Arkansas to win this game. And then obviously beyond that, you'll have Arkansas eventually. I think it ends up being Arkansas and Bama, with Bama winning it all. That's not normally. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The SEC tournament, if Arkansas is not in it, I really don't pay attention. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll call it like it is. I don't. Like, I'll watch like a game. I won't keep up with it. So I couldn't tell you how this thing panned out a couple of years ago in 2019. Of course, we know 2020 it got canceled. But as soon as Arkansas is out of it, like as soon as they're knocked out, I'm like, all right, I don't really care. Because I'm on to the next Arkansas thing, right? If they're not getting prepared for the NCAA tournament, which was off and on the case for Arkansas with Mike Anderson, I'm on to that. I'm off the SEC. I don't really care if Arkansas is not involved. So I couldn't tell you how that would normally play out, but it seems like it's a pretty obvious take to have Alabama playing Arkansas. I'll tell you, though, there's some tough matchups along the way, and Ole Miss does worry me. I think they're very much motivated. They're a bubble. Right now, Lenardi has them like right there. I mean, if they get a couple of good wins, I think they probably have to get at least to the SEC championship just to even kind of be a coin flip. If they win it all, I just don't see them beating Alabama, but anything could happen. But if they win it all, then they're probably in. So they're motivated. I think they're motivated. All right. Tanya Henry says, I am so excited for KJ Jefferson. I've been high on this kid. I think he has the potential to be an absolute star on any team, says Tanya. Fishman, wow, Dak is a garbage quarterback. What a joke. I don't know. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I could talk a little bit. I do think he's I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's worth that kind of money. They underperformed. It's more like it wasn't exciting as it normally is, but they 100% underperformed. And I'm not just saying that because Kentucky was down. Like, you look at how the season started, Tennessee was picked to win the conference. Kentucky, I think, was second. LSU was third. None of those three were there. Obviously, this came down, and Bama was picked fifth. Arkansas picked sixth. Bama wins. They finished number one. Arkansas number two. So, wait, did who finished third? Was it Tennessee that finished third? Tennessee finished third. And I think Tennessee could be dangerous in the tournament too. And that's the other thing too it's hard to hold down the SEC tournament. Like, who's surprised is Missouri motivated enough to win this thing, to win out? And at the end of the day, who gives a damn? The SEC tournament, like, who cares? We're ready for the big dance, baby. Arkansas right now projected. I wanted to pull that up, but there was a couple. Well, of course, I don't have the there it is. Arkansas, of course, projected to play in the Region 3 right now. Region 3 is a 3 seed. Win out, you could be a 2 seed, right? You could. I think that's on the table. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I like their odds at least getting to the championship game. But I don't know, man. I mean, a big part of me is wondering if I don't know. Do they play like they did against A&M? And if they do, you're good enough. I think they're good enough to win out because the way they played against A&M, look at their numbers. Look at their numbers on the floor. They shot damn good. A&M just brought it. Is A&M? Are they going to continue to trend in the right direction like they did against Arkansas? I mean, honestly, that was almost as good as a victory. And I hate that. I hate saying that. I don't really believe in good losses or pretty losses. I don't really believe it, but that was a good loss. If there ever was one, that was a good loss for them. Does that give them a little bit of hope and momentum? Imagine if they'd won that game. Does all of a sudden the hype wagon for the must bust, does that come to kind of a screeching halt for the national perspective? Maybe a little bit. Hog fans probably would be bummed for a couple of days, but what a high A&M would be riding on. And I think they're pretty well motivated too. Like, they just want to ruin everybody's season. They want to knock people back. In the same way, Ty, if Hogs aren't part of the action, I don't watch. Missouri and Bama are my only worries for the SEC tournament. Yeah, LSU hasn't got their money's worth yet. Big Daddy Will Wade. Oh, goodness. Again, the SEC tournament, man, I just – it's hard to take it serious sometimes because, like, when it's over, it's not over. Like, you're going on. You're going on to what matters more, the NCAA tournament. Okay, what else did we have here? I wanted to get into the spring football. I wanted to talk about this. I want you guys to – I want your questions. I'll try to answer them. I do not have – I don't know why spring rosters are so hard to get a hold of right now. I don't know why we don't have a report on that. So I don't have a roster for who all exactly is here, who's reported. I know they've got some injuries. Coley and Jackson was one of them. So speaking of, let's talk about – first off, April 17th, mark it down on your phone or on your calendar. That will be the spring game. If it is open to the public, and again, that's in April. If it's open to the public, I'm going to try, and I'm sure they'll have like reduced amount, like they're not going to let families of 10 in or something. Like, I could see them, or they could go like, 50% capacity just as long as they hit that number. And I don't know how they're going to keep count of that because in years past, you just walk into the stadium. No one's really, checking. I mean, you don't have tickets to scan, so I don't know how they're going to keep up with that. But if they keep it at 50% capacity, I don't know how many fans are going to be there. People are going to be so excited. Hopefully it's beautiful weather. Hopefully it's gorgeous. It's sunny, not a cloud in the sky, and we're just ready to watch some football. People will be excited for that. So especially with the anticipation of the new quarterbacks, some of the freshmen that are here, I think there's going to be a lot of people there. So I'm going to try like hell to go. And again, that's at April 17th. Do we have a time? That's the question. That's the question that I have. Do we have a time for the spring game? I don't think we do. Oh, wait. No, we do. 2 p.m. We do. There you go. And that'll end it. That will end your spring camp. They report tomorrow, and probably by the time you're watching this, for some of you, later today, they report 3:40 p.m. on tomorrow afternoon, and then Coach Pittman's going to do Zoom calls at 6. Then you're going to have Arkansas Pro Day on the 10th. So there's no I don't think there's any practice on the 10th, and then he's going to do a Zoom at 11 a.m. Here we go. Practice number 2 is going to be on the 11th at 3:40 p.m. and then we'll have a Zoom conversation, or the established media will have a Zoom with Pittman at 6 p.m. So a couple hours there. They're going to get to practice. Practice 3 will be on Saturday, no media. And then they meet back up on the 16th of March. So, yeah. We do have I don't know how confirmed that is, because we're more than a month out on the 17th. But according to what I'm looking at, 2 p.m. on SEC Network. Now, it looks like it's on SEC Network Plus. If that's the case, you may have to use your ESPN app if you want to get a chance, if you're unable to go. So, you might, if you're able to, you might want to try and go. So, let's see. Let me get caught up on chat. Congrats to JD Note. I agree. I know this is kind of off topic. This is from Tanya. But does this baseball year feel different than any other year than other years? Does it feel like we're playing with a chip on our shoulder or something? I don't know. 10-game win streak, unanimous number 1 in the country. Think Catalan finally gets All-American status this year. He should, if he does not. Let's get into these position changes really quick. There's a couple here that stood out to me. If you haven't heard, the big one was Raheem Sanders. Okay, we know he was a 4-star, highly recruited out of Oklahoma. Arkansas walked in there, walked out with a big-time player. Wait, Raheem. Yeah. That was a big get for Arkansas to land Raheem Sanders, right? I thought, and from what we understood, he was going to play wide receiver. He was committed to play recruited to play wide receiver at Arkansas. Now, we knew he was a Swiss Army knife when they recruited him. I'm pulling something up here really fast. Florida. Why did I say Oklahoma? I'm thinking of A.J. Green. A.J. Green definitely going to play running back for Arkansas. But Raheem Sanders was recruited by Justin Stepp to play wideout. As far as I knew, and anybody else had known, he was going to play the position. After he left, remember, I said this here, who knows what happens, because I don't know how much influence Stepp or how much say he has in this offense as to who plays what position. I'm going to assume they leave that up to Sam Pittman and Kendall Briles. But since he's left, you've had some position changes on the offensive side of the ball. You've had tight ends moving around. You've had wide receivers moving around. And now Raheem Sanders looks like he's going to be stationed at running back. That's a little bit surprising, because you have depth. I mean, you have depth at both positions. That's what's great on offense. But you have depth at running back. I mean, they're in pretty damn good shape, really, with Traylon Smith, who I cannot believe, I think it was SDS who put him as the 10th overall running back in the SEC returning next year. I couldn't believe that. That was – someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that was SDS, Saturday Down South. It could have been Bleacher Report or another one of the 100 sites there that have a little bit of notoriety. I couldn't believe that. Like, I thought Traylon, especially when you consider he was battling for the ball for more carries with a very not himself Rakeem Boyd, and then he took over, and the guy's averaging like north of 5.5 to 6 yards a carry in SEC only play. He was tearing it up. He was ripping apart pretty good running defenses, run defenses. So they had him like at 10th. But then you have T.J. Hammonds, who we all know he's capable of doing some special things with the ball in his hands. I hope he's a little bit more involved next year, and I've said that every year he's been here. I will say, for the first time since he's been on campus for like 15 years, last year the Razorbacks, they utilized him, I think. Well, we know they utilized him more, or at least it felt like he did. I'm not sure about his carries under Bielema or under Chad. I forget, but forgive me too. I'm slipping. I'm exhausted. Not gonna lie. Had to take some ibuprofen. I'm exhausted tonight. A little late. My brain's trying to keep up. But they utilize T.J. Hammonds better than any staff has been able to utilize T.J. Hammonds. He got more attention. Should have been running back 2 from the start. And I agree. Traylon Smith should have been RB1. And I think Hammonds would have had even more carries had that been the case. Had Rakeem Boyd just, done us all a favor. And I hate to say that. Maybe even do himself a favor and go pro after last year, after the 2019 season. So, but then you look at those two guys, right? Then you brought on arguably one of the more electric athletes out of high school in A.J. Green, who's a top 200 player. He's a top 10 athlete at about 5'11", roughly about 200 pounds. I hear they want to shave a little bit of weight off of him. You also picked up Javion Hunt, who I've been told is vastly underrated, kid out of Oklahoma City. And then you've got guys there in front of him that are not, they shouldn't lose many carries to both AJ or Raheem Rocket Sanders. But you look at the wide receiver position, yeah, you brought in Katron Jackson, but there's a little bit of movement at the wide receiver position. So speaking of that, Mike Woods sounds like he's going to get to line up more at the slot position this next year. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot to some people, but it means he's going to play further, a little bit closer inside to the line of scrimmage or to the offensive line. So he'll be in the slot, basically the inside position a little bit more, which I thought he lined up a little bit last year at the slot. Depending on what side of the ball they had him on, or on what side of the line of scrimmage. But Mike Woods getting moved around, but then Collian Jackson is going to move from wide receiver to play tight end. I found that interesting. I mean, Hudson Henry, who we're all just kind of waiting, we're kind of, we're looking around waiting on him to really burst out. He was we know the family connection with Hunter. He was highly recruited out of Central Arkansas, 4-star prospect, one of the top tight ends in the country. We haven't really seen that kind of production yet on the field. So we're just kind of waiting on Hunter or on Hudson Henry to step up and play into that role. But then you've also you had some success there at that position. So you've got Colin Sutherland, who came in as a freshman. Now remember, they moved Blaine Toll around quite a bit. Blaine Toll moved from tight end or from defensive end to tight end back to defensive end. Hang on, let me read chat. I was not surprised, honestly, about what. You're going to have to tell me what you weren't surprised about. So anyways, you also had at the tight end spot a guy that emerged was Blake Kern. Blake Kern came onto the scene. He took over. Pretty solid blocker. He had a drop in the end zone. I get that. He dropped the football in the end zone. But other than maybe a couple of drops, Blake Kern turned out to be a hell of a tight end. So I don't know how much attention Collian Jackson's going to get at the wideout spot. He's built. I mean, he's got a frame you can add some weight on. So I'm not going into this football year expecting big things to happen just because I don't want to be let down. I want to be a surprise like I was last year if we do good. But I mean, we do have a pretty good team returning. Fishman says Hudson to this point can't hold his brother's jock strap. Sadly, maybe he'll put it together. And we also got to give him a little bit of time. I know he's dealing with some injury stuff too, But so those are some pretty big position changes. And then the other one on the defensive side of the ball, you had Zach Zymos, 6'4", 230-pound outside linebacker. Sounds like he's going to participate with the safeties this year. So that'll be interesting. That is a huge safety, by the way. I mean, 6'2", 6'3" is considered pretty big, like height-wise. 215, 210, 215. That's like, oh, all right, that's pretty big. This cat is 6'4", 230 pounds. I'm sure they'll have him shed a little bit of weight. But so you've had some position changes on both sides of the ball. Sam Pittman talked about wanting to run the football more this year. Now, I did not watch his entire interview. He talked to the media today for like 25, 26 minutes. I didn't get a chance to finish the whole thing. But it looks like, it sounds like he wants to run the ball more. He wasn't super satisfied with how they handled third downs and not running the ball more effectively on third downs. And I'd have to agree with that. And I think the biggest difference there is they want to gain some weight on the offensive line. It sounds like some guys are already gaining some weight. So then you had the news about Noah Gatlin. And I know you guys have already been – I forgot to mention this last week, but Noah Gatlin, who retired due to knee injury and concussions, makes you wonder what's going to happen at that right tackle spot. But you've got the opportunity there for either Dalton Wagner or Tykees Crawford, the transfer out of Charlotte, to probably get some time there. Tykees Crawford, I think, is going to be pretty special wherever they play him on the offensive line. I think he's got a pretty high ceiling. And I'm not saying that because he had 4 stars. I'm saying that based on who I've been able to talk with about that and watching some film. Crawford, big, physical, pretty athletic for his size. I kind of wonder if they're waiting to move him to the left tackle spot, but with Myron Cunningham back, you don't need him over there. Sounds like you're going to need him at the right tackle spot. And from what I understand, he could play either. But might be more suited to play right tackle. I don't know. But I'm pretty excited about him. But Noah Gatlin, who started, I think, 5 games last year, if I remember right. It's a pretty big loss, but his health has to come first. And you're racking up concussions along with a pretty dinged up knee. I don't blame him at all for stepping back. Colin Jackson has an off the field coach every time he goes home for a visit dinner. That is true, Mark. That is very true. He does, indeed. His dad. I like Colin Jackson at tight end for some reason. He's got the frame. Maybe because his dad. That's also a possibility. Oh, what up, John Hawes? How you doing, sir? Hey, you guys do me a favor. Make sure you like the live stream. We're at we were almost at like 60 people a minute ago. Let's get the likes up, huh? Super chat is active, but kind of answering all questions I can. To be honest with you, I think Catalan gets that All-American. I already read that. Azazian, you're right. I agree that I hope that he does. You know how I feel, though. Arkansas always kind of gets overlooked with this stuff. Moses Moody, what was he, freshman of the week? Moses Moody was freshman of the week, but he was co. Was he co again? Isn't that just ridiculous? Or is that just how they do things now? I don't know. It's just terrible. Baseball does have a different feel. Seems like we have all the pieces this year. They're headed in the right. Man, they're looking good. 10 straight. Scary thing is everyone else has 6 seniors too. I hope are better. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Arkansas is a one and done in the SEC tournament? Or do you think they can go far? Do you think let me know in the chat. I want to know. I want to hold your hand. Oh, this chair is so damn squeaky. I hate it. Can you hear it? Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear it or not. Yeah, so with position changes, with spring camp kicking off, it's gonna be interesting. That's what I'm looking forward to. We're coming up on 40 minutes. I'm gonna end it here. Hey, I'm gonna keep it under an hour. I said I was going to. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. And I was interviewed by someone a couple of years ago, and I think they were thrown off by my response. But the spring scrimmage or spring practice, spring scrimmage, the only thing I really look for is the quarterback battle. And actually, that's where I'm going to end this, is with KJ and Malik. I know that's what everyone really wants to talk about. Let me end on that. Okay, we're going to try and keep this at under 45. There we go. But I told someone in an interview, I don't know that you get much out of a spring game, and I stand by that. I don't ever leave a spring game going, yep, we're going to win 8-9 games this year. I don't ever do that. I can't. And if you are doing that, I mean, hey, kudos to you. Maybe I hope that whatever you're seeing comes true, or at least if you feel like after what you just witnessed that, oh, wow, that's a 10-win team right there. Let it be known. Tell me when you come back, because I know I'm going to get someone either in the comment section or in my DMs or somewhere telling me, oh, no, Ty, I think they're a 9-10 win team after what I just witnessed in the spring game. I don't know that you could ever get that. What I look for is, just how the quarterbacks and receivers look. Are they synced up together? Position changes. I'm curious about who's playing where. Obviously, you keep a lookout for every year. You got number changes too, and it gets a little confusing. That's why you got to always grab one of those roster sheets. But that's the kind of stuff that I look forward to. Like, that's what I'm looking at. Like, who's playing where? What kind of position changes? How do the quarterbacks and receivers look? Are they synced up real good? Maybe you can kind of get an idea. Especially if they're playing ones versus ones. Like, I don't know. Oh, that corner, Monteric Brown. He just made a really good play with a ball in the air thrown to Treylon Burks. All right, okay. I don't ever leave a spring game like, yeah, no, that's 10 wins right there. That's what I saw. That's 10 wins, baby. Fishman says, Ty, you say 10 straight, you mean overall, 10 straight SEC, of course. Well, are you talking about basketball's 11? I thought we were, 11 straight. Fishman, don't give me shit. I'm exhausted. I'm pretty sure I said 11 though, right? Did I say 11 straight SEC? That's what I meant. Here's $5 super chat, Ty. Get your shit straight. It's 11 straight conference wins. What up, Ty? KJ is legit. I've said it. Believe it. Mr. T-Dub, thanks, man. Does Trey Knox bounce back? That's a good question. With Woods possibly playing more slot, keep an eye on some of these younger guys. Keep an eye on some of these younger cats now. Ketron Jackson, I'm really excited for. I don't know if he's a legitimate, like, what everyone has made him out to be, like this future All-American receiver, future All-Conference caliber wide receiver or not, but I'm pretty excited about him. I love you, Ty. I love you too. Thought I said 11 straight SEC wins. I may not. And I was also talking about baseball earlier too. They had 10 straight. Of course, that's not conference wins, but they have 10 straight too. Coach P didn't fire me up about defensive line. Yeah, they're a little thin. Defensive line is a little bit concerning. Now with Blaine Tull, who's in the transfer portal, you don't know if he comes out of it or not. They're going to need some help on the defensive line. And that's crazy because it wasn't that long ago you had one of the best defensive line recruiting classes that you've ever had, but that goes to show you've got to be able to do it every single year. I get the idea Trey Knox isn't as hardworking as others. What say you? I don't know. I know last year there was definitely that was called into question a little bit from people on Twitter with limited coverage by the media. And don't get me wrong, I think Sam Pittman's a straight shooter. We're not getting a lot of that from Sam. At least I haven't heard, so I don't know. It could be the case though, Brian. I don't know. So KJ versus Malik. KJ Jefferson is the announced starter going into spring camp. This shouldn't shock or surprise anybody. I've said since the Mizzou game, the confidence level now of the future of the quarterback position, it's as high as it's been, since I don't know, I guess maybe Felipe Franks. You felt a little bit better when Franks transferred here, right? I feel like I'm maybe at a similar level. Okay. All right. No, we're in good shape. Okay. KJ against a salty Mizzou defense on the road looked the part. So I'm sure the coaching staff felt the same way. You can't look at what he did after that and say, well, whatever. He was the guy start to finish on a very limited notice in terms, he didn't work with the ones that week with Mizzou, right? He didn't prep with the ones. He wasn't a part of practice. He wasn't working with the ones. Maybe he got some time, but he wasn't the sole guy working with the ones, getting all the attention with running with the A squad, right? On offense. And he still went in there and like dunked on Mizzou. So, and I understand his pass completion record. People look at that and they go, yeah, but he's like 55, 56% pass completion. Okay. And if you watched him enough, like I'm sure most of you have in chat, and I know I did, there's some issues there. His accuracy, I'm a little concerned there. I wish he would take a little bit of heat off the ball when he throws those underneath routes. It kind of worries me a little bit. He throws the ball. It looks like it reminds me of Ryan Mallett. When he throws those underneath routes, he's got such a strong arm. He doesn't really take the heat off, and I think that some of that is him just trying to get the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker. I think his deep ball accuracy, it looked pretty spot on last year. Hornsby he doesn't have the size. He doesn't have that 6'3.5", 240-pound, oh my God, speed or a frame coming at you. Has the speed, but doesn't have that big physical frame like KJ. You wonder, though, if KJ is also not afraid to tuck the ball and run it and take hits. That kind of cost him. If you remember his freshman year, he got banged up. His true freshman year, that is. But, as long as he's smart with the ball, as long as he's sliding or trying to get out of bounds, KJ's just as capable of making things happen outside of the pocket. There it is, 45 minutes. Okay. Malik Hornsby, I'm excited about too, but I think he still needs a full year, right? He hasn't had that full off season. This is when it comes in, right? This is when it kicks off. It starts tomorrow. Spring practice, excuse me. Get through this spring camp. Get through the voluntary workouts during the summer. Voluntary. That's what our coaches used to say at Fayetteville. Yeah, your voluntary workouts. And then, of course, fall camp. This won't be decided. Quarterback battle will not be over, I don't think, no matter what the coaching staff says. It will not be over after spring camp. I think starting fall, KJ will. I'm gonna say if I'm a betting man at Vegas, I'm gonna say that Arkansas or Sam Pittman sticks with KJ after the spring. Probably comes out and says it. Who knows? Malik could show up. Malik is capable, and I agree with you guys. I think he's a little bit faster. He's definitely faster, but we don't really know what he can do in this offense with his arm. We haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. Maybe he shows up and he just blows the staff away. But if I'm a betting man, I say it's KJ. If they do that, they'll probably come out after spring and go, you know what? He's our guy. We're sticking with KJ, but I still don't think it's over. I think then fall camp comes around. It could be something that goes on. This quarterback battle goes on until KJ solidifies the position during the regular season, where the staff puts a period at the end of the sentence that KJ is the guy, that KJ is the starting quarterback. Could be that scenario. And the only reason why I say that, not because KJ is a bad quarterback or that he's only, whatever, he's overhyped because of one game or anything like that. It's mostly because I know Malik Hornsby. You guys know we watched him commit or sign. Was it commit or sign? We did a whole video. We did a whole live stream. I'm excited about Malik. I think he has a pretty high ceiling, maybe higher than KJ Jefferson's. I think that's why this battle is going to go on for a while. So don't forget about Darren Turner. Yeah, you still have Darren Turner, who is supposed to play wide receiver. Well, there were rumors he could play defensive back. So I may have judged KJ Jefferson too soon, but we'll see. One good game against the Tigers ain't much. Hopefully he balls out. Well, okay, but Mizzou was salty. Mizzou on defense was pretty damn good. You cannot undervalue or overvalue what he did with very limited time to prepare in terms of, like I said earlier, working with the ones, getting the reps in, and what he did was pretty impressive. He didn't know until that morning. Now, he was told Friday night that it could be a possibility, but it wasn't until Saturday morning during warm-ups. You've seen the video footage where they walk up and they're like, "You're the guy today." That's all he had, and he showed out against a pretty impressive Mizzou team. Again, I agree that can't be the only reason, right? Like, he's going to have to show this staff during spring that he deserves the one spot, and Malik, I think, will push him. Malik is talented. I mean, he's fast. I don't know his official 40, but I know he's quick. He's a quick cat. And we know this offense works better when it's going faster. So KJ showed that too. And that was the other thing too. The offense just looked and operated smoother and faster when KJ was out there, because that's what this offense, unlike Chadwick Morris's offense, you absolutely have to have somebody who has that ability to go fast, keep the momentum going, and to be able to, when you run the RPOs, when the quarterback keeps it, he's got to be able to take off, pick up the yardage, turn around, snap the ball again, do it all over again, So didn't Malik run a 4.4? I don't know if that was ever verified. I don't know if that was verified. 40 times are different with quarterbacks. I mean, you can get cats that run these, you see it, they run 4.7 40s and they still end up being pretty quick out of the pocket. I don't know if that's game speed. I don't know what that is. I think 40 times kind of work a little bit different with quarterbacks in terms of, what, I don't even know how to word that. Like, it's just different. You've seen guys that out of high school, they run these 4.59 40s. And then they run the RPO or quarterback sprint up the gut and they take off and, they look like they're dropping 4.3 40s on the floor or on the field. So the 40 times kind of work differently. Just because a guy doesn't run a 4.4 doesn't mean he isn't a capable dual threat quarterback and can run quick out of the pocket. So I don't know what he ran. Man, if he ran a 4.4, that's insane. That's crazy. So KJ probably runs, I would be willing to bet he runs a 4.65, 4.7 40, but you saw what he did. He had a couple of runs this year that was like, okay, he looks pretty quick. So it's kind of funny how that works out. But all right, anyways, appreciate the super chat tonight, T-Dub and Fishman. You guys are awesome. I kept it under an hour at least. I will be live on Friday after the game, right? Isn't that when Arkansas plays? Isn't that their game, Friday? Isn't that what I just said? Isn't that what you just said? It is. Quarterfinals, March 12th. That game, whoever they play, I'm assuming it's going to be Mizzou, 6 p.m. I will be here for the post game. If there's any more big breaking news, I might be live before then. Odds are you probably won't see me again until Friday, but, hit the notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out all the links. Again, shout out to Super Chat and to the Patreon supporters. Jameis Winston ran a 4.97. I think I remember that. There was someone else, too, that was pretty quick in the pros, and he ran like a 4.8 40. And people were like, oh, my God, he's so fast. You look up his NFL Combine, and it turns out he runs his 40, and it was something just you would not expect. It's crazy how that works out. Anyways, Woo Pig, I'll see you guys later. Go Hogs.